Hello student, myself Manish Sharma. This is my first lecture on reproduction in organism. As we know, in the 12th standard there are 16 chapters, and these 16 chapters are very important as far as the medical exam is concerned. So today we are going through the first chapter, that is reproduction in organism. In the previous classes we have already discussed the properties of the living organism. As we know, the reproduction and the growth, these are the two properties which are not a defining properties of the living organism, because these properties also show by the non-living ones. Reproduction basically is just a multiplication. There's just a copies, production of their own kind and all. The same thing has happened with the growth. If you see the growth, that is increase in mass, if you see the mountains and big mountains, sand dunes, these all increase in their size. But the basic difference in the reproduction in living organism and the growth in living organism, that is, these two properties is done by the internal metabolic changes, not by the external. So, not go into deep in these topics. Let us come to the topic of 12th, that is reproduction in organism. Here we just touch some introductory points of reproduction, comparative analysis, that is reproduction in animals and reproduction in plants. So reproduction in organism include, first is life span. Life span refers to the time period from birth to natural death. That is the lifespan, right? So if you see, some organisms survive only for one day, some years. Say for example, mayfly survive only for one day, right? While elephant 60 to 65 years, like tortoise approx 150 years, As far as the plant is concerned, like banyan tree, approx 200 to 300 years. So you see, there is a lot of variation in the lifespan. Basically, the lifespan depends. It depends the adaptation, adaptation. It depends upon the immunity. As far as the immunity is concerned, if you compare the immunity of the mayfly that survive only one day, so definitely the immunity as well as the adaptation of these organisms is very very less in comparison to the elephant or the tortoise. But here there is a very very interesting thing. If the adaptation is less, immunity is less, then the nature will increase the fertility rate in these organisms. If you discuss the fertility rate of the elephant, the entire lifespan of a female, one female gives only a 6 birth. If you compare some fishes like tilapia fish, in one spawning that fish gave approx 1,25,000 eggs. But again, if you discuss the survival rate in elephant, 100% survival, while in mayfly or in tilapia fish, the survival rate is only 3 to 5%. So this is all depend upon the adaptations, right? Now the another very interesting point related to the life span, that is life cycle. Life cycle. The life cycle refers to the stages. One organism which passes through the different stages. The stages, say for example, if you take the adult, then adult give eggs or baby that will give the birth of the young ones also. So let us discuss later on. The eggs will develop the larva will develop the pupa, right? And pupa again will develop the adult, right? But in some cases, the egg hatch out and gives the nymph. So there are two different kinds of organisms. One which follow this link: adult, then egg, then larva, then pupa, then adult. While the other kind of the organism which give the adult, then eggs will hatch out, give the nymph. The basic difference between the nymph and the adult is just the size, right? So we can say that the nymph is the miniature of the adult. So on the basis of these stages, we can discuss two different kinds of life cycle exhibited by the organism. One is called holo metabolus, and second one is called hemi metabolus. Holometabolous type of life cycle and hemimetabolous type of life cycle. In case of holometabolous type of life cycle, adult gives egg, egg will hatch out and larva will appear, and at a certain stage larvae stop feeding and develop a protective covering and transform into another stage called pupa, and after some time that pupa cut and remove that cover or protective covering and adult will appear. Now as far as examples are concerned, you will see in case of silk, moth and butterflies. Butterflies also show such type of arrangement. While in second one is adult provide the eggs, then eggs hatch out, give the nymph, and then adult. So here there are only three stages: adult, eggs, and nymph. As I have already mentioned, there is no difference in morphology of the adult as well as the nymph. Just the difference in the size. Now we take the example here. The example is grasshopper. Grasshopper shows such type of arrangement. The one category is that is metabolus, a special type of category, a very special type of category, right? And very important for your competitive exam, metabolus. Here basically they are the hemimetabolous because they have only three stages, but the metamorphism or the development is very slow, means from nymph to adult such organisms take approx 1 year. So this is the basic difference in purometabolous and hemimetabolous. Otherwise they are the hemimetabolous. They have the three stages: adult, eggs and nymph, but nymph to adult it will take around 1 year, right? Here we can take the example of the cockroaches, a very important example, right? Now move to the another topic, that is reproduction. Reproduction. Reproduction, that is production of their own kind. Production of their own kind is a very, very important phenomena as far as the significance is concerned. Significance the reproduction helpful in perpetuation or continuity of life. Perpetuation, that is continuity. Perpetuation or continuity of life, or you can say the existence of the species on this planet. Because if any species stop reproducing, that means their number slowly and gradually reduces, and at one time the species is totally extinct. So the reproduction is a very, very important phenomenon in the existence of the species, right? Now, as far as the types of reproduction is concerned, there are two basic types of reproduction. There are two basic types. One is called, you have already studied in your lower classes, one is called asexual reproduction, and second is called sexual reproduction. Now the basic difference between these two, sexual reproduction, asexual reproduction, A refers to without. Sexual refers to the fusion. That means without the fusion of gametes. While in this case, fusion of gametes takes place. Right? If there is no fusion of gamete, that means no exchange of the genetic material. Right? That means no exchange of genetic material. right? Here, of course, exchange of genetic material takes place. No exchange of genetic material, that means only one parent is involved here, so it is monoparental. Only one parent is involved, either the male or the female. While here the genetic material exchange, so definitely the exchange of the genetic material is done between mother and father, right? So it is biparental, right? If there is no exchange of genetic material, that means no variation, and here of course variations takes place. Variations take place, right? No variation, that means no evolution. As we know, the basis of the evolution is the variation. So here no variation, so no evolution. So here, while in the sexual reproduction, variations takes place, definitely they will show the evolution, right? If they are the monoparental, that means they will develop carbon copy of parent, and that carbon copy of the parent is called clone, right? Here one thing is very very important, the clones are genetically, morphologically, physiologically they are similar, right? So asexual reproduction versus the sexual reproduction, here only one parent involved, so it is monoparental. Here two parents are involved, so it is biparental. No variations, obviously no exchange of genetic material, no crossing over, so no variations. Here at the time of the gamete formation, meiosis takes place, so genetic material get exchanged, crossing overs takes place, so variations occur. No variation means no evolution. The species will never evolve. Less adaptations, while here variations takes place. So obviously evolution takes place. If a single parent is involved, then they will develop the carbon copy of the parent, and that carbon copy is called clones. So clones are genetically, morphologically and physiologically. This is very important because as far as the competition exam is concerned, so many times the clones asked in the competitive exam, the clones are genetically similar, morphologically different. the clones are physiologically similar and genetically different. So this type of the questions asked in your NEET exam. So you remember this, the clones genetically, morphologically and physiologically they are similar, right? So this is the difference between the asexual reproduction and the sexual reproduction. Now let us look of mode of asexual reproduction. Mode of asexual reproduction. There are various modes of asexual reproduction. Let us discuss one by one. Before the discussing, have a look of these modes. Number one, fission. Fission may be of binary, fission may be of multiple, may be transverse, longitudinal, right? So these are the four different types. Then second, we will discuss budding. Then third one is zoospores. Fourth is spore. Fifth is chlamydospore. Sixth is conidia formation. Seventh, gemule formation, right? So these are 7 different types or modes of asexual reproduction. These modes we will discuss in the next video. Thank you.